Hi everybody, Alex Employee here from Expert Forex, and this is the second video in the series of how to use set files supplied by EA Factory and Expert Forex. And in this case, we are looking at how you can turn those set files into millions of dollars. Now, if you haven't already, please view this video that's on your screen right now before you go on with the video I am producing right. So if you haven't done so already, please view this video on your screen right now. It shows you how to take the set files from EA Factory and implement them onto your MT4 platform for use by your tester and also for use for trading the actual EA. Now at the end of this video, we stopped here where we had downloaded the set file into the tester, and on your screen you can see the settings that exist in this particular set file, the same set file as we used in the previous video. So the next question is, all right, I've got this set file, what do I do now? So what we're going to do now is we're going to test the settings supplied, and we are going to do further optimization of those settings. But before we can do that, there are a few preparations that we need to do. We're going to be testing a period, and I'm just randomly selected the 1st of February to the 14th of April as the period that we're going to be testing and optimizing. We're going to be doing the pound yen, and we're going to be using the moving average multiplier EA on a 1 hour basis on using 5 pips as the spread. And initially I'm going to be using open prices only. We can use tick data, and I will alternate between tick data and the open prices. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you've got quality data over that test period. And not only at the start of that, you need about 2 weeks before the start of that period and onwards. So in other words, for the tester to work, it needs data to work on. Now that data can be supplied by your broker, or you can use a specialized data service to bring you that data. And I use a specialized service, and that in fact will put these two blocks on that you might not see when you open the strategy tester, and that brings really special data in. We call it tick data, and it makes the testing a lot easier and more accurate. So that's the first thing you need to do, is make sure that you've got enough data. And sometimes you can't import that special data, and you have to rely on what your broker has supplied. So what you then do is you go to your chart, the pound yen, and we've got a 1 hour time frame. I'm just going to fold this away so that it doesn't worry us too much. You switch off these buttons here, and you click on home, the home button. It will take you to the last date where history is available. So in this case, we actually have enough history to use the broker's data because it has gone to the 3rd of January. So we are okay. If you were to use the broker's data, you could use that. But that's the first test you need to do. Make sure that you've got enough data. Then the next test you need to do is, I've already loaded the EA onto a chart and it's ready to trade. You need to go into the settings and then very carefully check that allow live trading is ticked and allowed DLL imports. Your testing will not work if those aren't ticked. Then you also need to just double check. If you go to tools, options, and you go to expert advisors, make sure that allow automated trading is ticked, and that allow DLL imports is also ticked, and you can then save it. So those are the two things that really cause testing problems. If you don't have enough data, you won't be able to test the results. And if you don't have an authorized, and that DLL basically authorizes this EA, then you won't be able to test. So if for some reason you are not getting testing results, then what you do is you click on journal, and it will tell you some problems. Now here's one that could be a potential problem in our testing, but it will highlight potential testing problems. So click there. If you still have problems, take a picture of the journal and send it to EA Factory, and they may be able to assist you. But this kind of optimization and testing is very technical. There are things that can go wrong, and it takes quite a while to learn how to problem solve through this process. Okay, so let's get back to the what we need to do now. So those are the things that you need to do. I did do a video a long time ago where I showed how you can get really quality data downloaded, and you can go to this video. The link will be in the description and in the comments of the video. So if you want to improve your data quality, then certainly use that particular video. Okay, so I think we're ready to start testing. The first thing to do is you have these settings is to see what results these settings give. Now, these are exactly the settings I've downloaded from EA Factory, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them to see that if I use those settings over this period, what the results would be. So you just run it. You don't, this optimization block is unticked, and you run it. Now, just before I run it, I must point out I'm going to be using a $10,000 account, and when we come to testing, we will be using genetic algorithms. So those have to be in place. So I'm going to test this on a $10,000 account. I click start, and then it does a run to tell me how I would have done if I used those settings. And if we look at report, there we are, and these are wonderful results. I mean, they're absolutely wonderful results. It says that we would have made $57,000, and that's equivalent to pips. So we would have made 57,000 pips if we had traded over that period, and that is absolutely fantastic. You'll see the modeling quality is NA. As a starter, that's enough information for us. So what I'm going to do, I go back to settings. I say we're going to use that tick data that's been supplied, and we're now going to say let's do this run on every tick. So now this will give a much more accurate evaluation of those settings. So we run those, and you'll notice that the run goes a lot slower, because it's now dealing with every tick, where before it was using 1 hour bars to do the trading. Okay, it's finally finished. It took about 2 minutes to run that one. I haven't kept the video running over that period, and here we go. Now we see that the results are 57,000, which means that the open price version of the testing has been confirmed as representing these tests quite well, because there isn't a big variation between the results. And that also means that we can now go back to the open prices, because they do represent the results quite well. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to run an optimization run according to the template that we've provided. So we've now, just bear in mind, we'll look at that. We are chasing 57,000 as the best results. What we do is we go back to the input section. These sections have been completed for you, so you don't need to worry about that. The ticks have also been made in the appropriate places where we need to optimize, so you don't need to worry about that either. So all you do is you say okay, and you click on optimization. What's going to happen is that the strategy tester is now going to optimize all the variations of those settings using the genetic algorithm and give us a set of results. So I'm going to start, and it'll become clearer once the start happens. It says that it's going to take about 3 minutes to run 10,000 tests, but it will actually take a lot shorter. You can see that that time is dropping all the time. So it's going to take about 2.5 minutes to run 10,000 tests. And it's already done 1,000 in this short time that I've been speaking, and it will run for another 2 minutes. So again, I'm going to just let the test run. Just to remind you, we're trying to improve that 57,000 number. It is a fantastic number if you think about the fact that that's over a 10-week period, and 57 effectively pips have been produced during the trade. Okay, the optimization run has been completed. It hasn't quite done the 10,000. It stopped at 9.4, which is fine, no problem with that. And we can then look at the optimization run results by clicking on optimization results and sorting them in profitability order. And you can see we've improved the results from $57,000 to $64,000 by optimizing the set file that has been supplied even further. Remember, that set file was created over a 10-month period. We've only tested a 10-week period, so $64,000 is pretty good for 10 weeks. Now, if you want to put that number into your inputs section, you just right-click on it, you set input parameters, and it will take it to the input side. Now, just to check this, 60 was the MA, 24 was the MA, and the maximum of 20. And let's go now. So it's 60, 24. So we go to settings, and we see that those values have now changed to 60 and 24, and a lot of other settings have changed. So what you then do is you go save. Remember, here's our set file. So here's the supplied set file from EA Factory, and you just say new settings. So, and it's 10 weeks, and it's ended on the 16th of April. Just to identify the settings that you've used. So now you have the new settings saved, and you can either use these settings or you can use the supplied settings for your trading, or you can make changes to them to reduce the risk if you like. So that's showing you how it works using really high quality data. So to check that that still works, let's just run the settings, the new settings without optimization. We start here, we do it on open prices, and we have a look. And yes, that's gone up 62, 64. It hasn't gone up perfectly. I'm not sure why not, but that's close enough for us at the moment. So we have improved the results to that level, 62,000. Now remember that 62 number there, because what we're going to do now is we're going to untick the tick data. So now by unclicking it, we are no longer using the high quality data that I've been using. We are now going to use the broker data, which is here, and we've already determined that we've got enough history right back to the 3rd of January to run over that particular period. So now I'm going to run those settings on the broker data, and let's just go back again. We're looking for 62,000. Let's see what happens when we run it on the broker data. Oh, and we get 62,000. So what we've now done is we've agreed that the open price method is more or less the same as the tick data method, and we've now compared the tick data method with the broker data. So everything is nicely aligning. So it actually means that you could have used the data method in the first place. Isn't that fantastic? So if you were to start this exercise, you could just go and use the broker data information. Okay, so I hope you found this interesting so far. So let's see if we can squeeze a little bit more out of this. And I'm going to go in here. We have saved this. Remember, we have saved this as the new settings. So we have them available if we want to go back to them. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to unclick some of these. And I'm going to just optimize one setting. There we are. And I'm going to optimize one setting. At the moment, we have manual lot sizing. I'm going to say let's go for percentage of equity. And if you want to use percentage, you have to tell it what kind of percentage of equity you want. So you click there, and I'm just going to say I want to test from 0.5% to, with jumps of 0.5%, to, let's say, 12%. Okay, so now what it's going to do, it's going to test about 24 options for us and give us the best result that it can find. So we go OK, and we don't have to run again. That is the number that we're trying to beat, 62,000. So let's do an optimization run. Now we're only doing an optimization run on one item because that's the only item that is ticked, and we run it. And look how fast that 24 ran, very fast. And we then look at the results. And we say, okay, if we had used initial risk of 3.5%, then we would have made $323,000. So by using the percentage of equity basis, we have increased the income from $62,000 to this number here. But I'm not actually even going to be interested in this number because the risk is so high when you use a percentage of equity. You can see that only 6 or 7 readings are positive. The rest have all encountered margin calls when the percentage of risk exceeds 3.5%. So what it's telling us, percentage of account is very risky. Rather stick to the fixed lot basis. You're making a lot of pips anyway, but the risk is highly reduced. But this certainly is a way of increasing your income by optimizing the initial risk number. Now I'm going to just put that back to where it was, manual lot sizing. So it looks at manual lot and it says the manual lot sizing that I like is there. So one more thing that I'd like to show you, which is the most important thing to do when you are trading set files, is to optimize your time of day setting. Now I'm going to go way back to how we started. So I'm going to load the set file provided by EA Factory. I'm going to open that and then let's run it. And you can see it has all the items ticked here. And I'm just going to run it again. It should come to, and I'm going to run it on broker data. It should come to about 57,000. So let's just run it quickly. Run it with optimization unticked. So we run it and it comes to 56,000. So you can see how the numbers jump around. So we're happy there's 56,000 there. Now, one of the tests that you need to do, very importantly, is when you get a new set file, open it up and untick all of those. Remember, this is saved now, so we don't have to worry about it. Untick all of those, but leave this entry number and the exit number unticked, because you need to calibrate your broker account to these settings. And the best way really is to optimize your time of day settings. So we're going to say which hour should we start and which hour shall we stop. So we're only going to optimize that, and we go okay. And we're using broker data. The tick data is so we're actually using our own broker data. So we know that the result of that optimization will align these settings to our broker. That's the way, the ultimate way of aligning your set files to your broker. So optimize, and you say start. Now there should be about there's about 500 variations there, and we go and have a look at them, and we sort them in profitability order, and there we are. We're back to our 57,000. So we do that as input. We right click, put it as input. We go there, and we see these are the new times for our broker. So we have now calibrated our broker to use that set file that has been provided. Now you can see those times are quite different to what they were, and that is why this particular step is the most important step you need to take when using set files. You have to calibrate those set files for your broker, and the time of day settings are the way you do. So again, let's save this as something different. And I'll use that set file, and I'll just call it time of day optimization. So those are in fact the ones that you should be using, because they have been aligned to your broker. So I'll just save that, and as we know, the results were 56, oh, what are they? 57. So I'll just run it again. Should be the same. 57,695. Now if you then go back, so we've now aligned our set file to, now because the broker that I'm using here is aligned to our set files that we already are producing, that is why there was no major variation. But you might find that there are very big variations. So what I would suggest is this exercise that I've just shown you right at the end. Do that first and save that particular set, the settings. Do your time of day alignment first before you start optimizing and doing all those other things. But I think this video hopefully has given you lots of ideas on how you can optimize, test, refine your settings from the set files supplied by EA Factory. Now I hope you've enjoyed this important video on ways of changing the supplied EA set files, and they will make you a lot more money than if you didn't follow the processes detailed in this video. So from me, Alex Employee, cheerio.